just tanks hard. Well, if chiller 1's only made for heat recovery, it's never going to come on, right? So they put in mode 6 to make it go into cooling mode only. As an emergency backup to chiller 2.
So you're always going to need some cooling. So we're going to bring on the heat recovery unit and use it as cooling only.
So it will go into mode what?
Mode 6 when that happens.
Okay.
That's when chiller 2 fails and you still need cooling. So we're going to use the other chiller, which is usually made for making heat and cooling at the same time.
So chiller 1 gonna run on if it's tripped.
Exactly.
Until you reset chiller 2.
And it's only in the modes where you're probably in max cooling. You know, like Sean was saying, if it's 90 degrees outside or whatever, you got plenty of heat. So let's just go over the modes a little bit. Mode 1 we talked about, all the heat's rejected to the heating water system. We're not going to be using that much. Mode 2 is going to be your general mode of operation because it's kind of like regular chiller heat exchanger operation, to where it's in the heat recovery mode. It takes the heat in and sends it to the water system, and it also sends it out to the cooling towers for trimming so it doesn't get too hot.
So it didn't really directly send to the cooling tower. There is a heat exchanger, and the condenser loop actually go through the heat exchanger. So what the system is doing is that there is a valve, three-way valve, trying to moderate the temperature, and if the leaving water temperature gets too hot on the condenser side, the valve will open through the so that water will go through the heat exchanger, and the heat exchanger will put some heat out to the cooling tower, which will be always running. Will be always running, whether you have the valve is open or not. Will always running, and so that you can reject it at any time.
So let's reiterate. So for the chillers, especially chiller 1, the chiller 1, the condenser water is not actually condenser water. It's reheat water going into the reheat system. The condenser water is actually only going through the heat exchanger to the cooling towers and to chiller 2. All right. So when he was saying mode 6 is an emergency mode. So it's going to open that valve up all the way, and it's just going to dissipate heat through the heat exchanger. That's why it's only an emergency mode. You don't want to use that as a constant.
So chiller at mode 2 means it covers the demand and also go to cooling tower.
Yes.
Heating, it covers the heating demand.
It just doesn't want to get it too hot, so it trims it off.
Yeah, so it might not necessarily make it to the reheat demands. You might have to still use a little steam, but it's going to preheat reheat water to a temperature.
So
this is your steam conservation.
So another sense, chiller mode 2 is basically in for winter time, right?
It uses it a lot. Yes.
Right. Yes. Okay.
You're going to get your best benefits during the winter.
Winter time,
So mode 3 is like chiller cooling only, and it's chiller 2 is operating. So you're cooling only, heat rejected into the cooling tower.
Right.
Heat recovery system is off.
Okay.
Mode 4, CH1 and CH2 operate with heat rejected heating water system and condenser system. What's that mean, Sam? Mode 4
mode 4 is that
just
both chiller 1 and chiller 2 will be running together.
That's just cooling only, right?
No.
Chiller 1's heat recovery.
Chiller 1 is in heat recovery mode, supplying water to the system. So basically there will be some demand for the heating loop, but there is quite a high demand in cooling load. So the cooling load from chiller 1 probably is not sufficient to really handle that load. But there is still some heating demand that we can utilize from the chiller 1. So chiller 1 is going to run in heating mode, and then chiller 2 is going to run in cooling mode.
Cooling mode.
Yes. And so that during that mode, the cooling load is kind of shared between the chiller 1 and chiller 2. So you are kind of, splitting the chill water supply and the return temperature, so that each one will handle a part load. And the split will be done internally through the program. They have some calculation adjusting the set point, so that they will kind of split the load somehow.
So mode 4 covering both demands, cooling and heating. usually,
Yes, cooling and heating.
Got it.
When there's a high cooling load,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, chiller 1, the mode 2 will be sufficient.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in mode 5, you still have both chillers operating, but all the heat is being rejected to the condenser system, and the heat recovery system is off.
It's really more like a 85-degree day where it's very hot outside. You need cooling load. There's kind of very low heating load requirement. Then you are going to run that 2 chillers in cooling mode and
No heat recovery.
yeah, no heat
heat
recovery.
recovery, okay.
And in case you have some heat demand, you
Okay.
probably will try to satisfy that with the steam heat,
Okay.
just a little bit.
Yeah.
So basically mode 5 is kind of substitute of mode 1, right? Little bit cooling.
Basically,
Yeah.
high cooling load,
High cooling load.
both chiller running in cooling mode.
Okay, both chiller. Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
both chiller.
And then we already went through mode 6. Now, could you explain to him how, say, an emergency situation, we have to go from mode 2 to mode 3? How would you go about that if we're only in mode 2 right now?
Well, there's 2 ways to do it. You can override it for one, which there is a mode override here. 0 is auto, and then you're familiar with overriding.
So
You just write the mode that you want it to go in.
Yeah. And you don't need to
okay.
force it. It's already
It's just a
force.
set point,
oh, okay.
No, okay.
but it'll change modes that way. The more natural way would be to change set points to make it go into that mode, which might be difficult at times because
Right.
the set points might not be able to do that. And that's where
So
this,
give us an example.
yeah, this is where this page comes in for your information on how to get from mode to mode, or not from mode to mode. This is what happens when you're in the mode.
So what valves are open?
So what
are supposed to be
valves are,
closed?
yeah, exactly. What valves are open, what the set points are. This will tell you real time what's going on at the moment. It should match up to your mode. So mode 2, this is supposed to be on. It is. Set point is 50. This is supposed to be off. It's off. Doesn't matter. Close, close. See how this is working?
Open,
Just
open,
kind of
close,
match.
close.
Match these things to make sure that everything's
And you can
working
see with
properly.
mode 1, it says close to HX3, and then mode 2 says modulate.
Okay.
So closed H1, well, that'd be 0.
So you're seeing it at 29% right now because it's modulating.
Okay.
So don't let that fool you. When it says modulation, and you see a percentage there. That's what you're supposed to see. If it's
So-
closed, it's going to be 0.
So this is the mode. These are what the valves and pumps and whatnot are supposed to be doing
Oh,
at
okay.
any particular moment. And over here is what they are doing. And so if they match up, they match up. That's good. If they don't, there's something wrong. The other page, which I thought I was going to,
Bruce,
is the mode. Yeah.
there is also a schematic, and there's also a schematic on the system. And when you are actually looking at the schematic and refer to that, can you bring up that page? You can easily say,
can
go to
see.
mode 2,
Right.
and then you can identify here, okay, which one should be open, should the pump be running,
okay.
and things like that. You can really go through that, at least say, hey, in mode 3,
We have copies.
what should
Copy.
happen?
Can you make
Yeah.
a photocopy of this?
Well,
Yeah.
I'll send you a copy.
Yes.
Okay.
I think
It's
it's
in PDF.
PDF,
his
that's
is
good.
more clear.
Okay, yeah,
And,
okay.
and so when you look at this, you'll be able to see, okay, how the valve will
Because
be
on this
positioned,
chart
the
is-
pumps, and then.
It's making more sense to us on this chart.
Yes, I mean you can see the
Yeah.
you can see the flow, you can
Flow,
see
yeah.
that, and then you can match it.
Right.
Which one will be yeah.
Okay.
If you try to
Okay.
go through the sequence, it will be more difficult. But going through this table, then you can see what exactly will be
Okay.
positioned, and then you can see the flow.
Got it.
It's a good way to see if you have like a failed valve.
Valve.
too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a good troubleshooting tool. The mode actions, now that's exactly what's going on at any particular moment. Right now we're in mode 2.
Okay.
Now, this is going to be a little confusing. This is
How do you get to that page?
there. It's
You got to start at the condenser or evaporator. Yeah.
there's a mode button on most of these pages
Okay.
that you can click on, and this is the mode actions. That is what the troubleshooting tool. This guy here.
Okay.
And the mode actions control is actually set points and stuff that you can change to go from mode to mode, or back off if you don't want it to go in that mode. You know, it's a controlling type of situation. So right now, for instance, we are in mode 2.
Chiller 1, right?
That is chiller 1, yes. So in order to, like, say, move from mode 2 to 3, the hot water return, this is the actual value of 95.5, has to be greater than, you see the greater than symbol?
Mm-hmm.
Hot water return E set point, which default is 105, but that can be changed right here.
Okay.
So right now, it's not greater than this set point, right?
So get it 10 degrees.
Mm-hmm. Now, if I were to change this set point to 90, it would go into mode 3,
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
So this is one action that is making it go into different modes. This one also, if it from 2 to 3, or this could happen where hot water supply and hot water return delta is, this is the delta, 9-degree delta between these two, is less than this set point, which is 4.
Okay.
Okay?
If delta is 3, then it's gonna move to 3.
That's correct.
Okay.
So do you guys understand that? Because this was the most confusing part for the whole thing for me was the mode page.
Yeah, and this is where you fine tune your system. Let's say
Right.
after years
Okay.
of learning your system, okay, we can make this go into mode 2 just a little bit more,
Okay.
or mode 3. But right now it's set up pretty good,
So, okay.
and it goes down the list this way.
Got it.
So this was 2 to 3 right here. Now 2 to 1. CV5 is closed. Well, it's not.
And it's closed for a certain amount of time too, isn't that correct?
And mode 2 to 1 criteria has been changed when is closed for more than 5 minutes, and hot water return temp is less than 95. So that's not going to happen very often, but that is there also.
Yeah, because always temperatures around.
Right. And so you got mode 2 to 4, same type of thing, except that it's going to be a little different. So hot water return and chiller 1 condenser entering delta is right now 20 degrees.
1, 3.
It has to be greater. No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
20 degrees?
Okay, it has to be greater than 3, which it is. Okay, this system is true. And is a very important part of this.
Mm-hmm.
CH1%, 51, has to be greater than 80.
What the 1%? Chiller 1 or chiller 1%? What?
Chiller 1 load percent,
A load percent, okay.
So it has to be above 80% on chiller 1,
Right.
with the delta being higher or
and,
greater.
which it is.
Mm-hmm.
So if this chiller 1 got up to 82.4%,
It goes from 3 to 4.
it would go from 2 to 4.
Oh, 2 to 4.
2 to 4.
Write that down.
Or, we have another or statement here, and we go down to the next one. Chiller 1% load, 50%, is greater than chiller 1 alternate load set point of 95, which it's not. It's only at 50.
Okay.
So, explain to me, just to make sure you got it, how that works. Like, well, I'll go over it one more time. Do you understand it?
Uh-huh.
So I
You
think
can
the,
go over one
yeah,
more
one
time.
way,
One more time.
yeah, one way to kind of go through that table, if I squeeze through, is that you really have to look at this active mode first.
Okay.
So what mode am I in?
2.
So right now you're in 2.
2.
When you are in, you see that in 2, you only go to the 2s. You don't worry about the 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
So you only need to go to the 2s.
Okay.
So these are the 2 to 1, 2 to 3, 2 to 4. These are the 3 that will apply during this mode.
Okay.
When you are in mode 3, you only go to these 2.
3 settings.
Yeah, and so you only go to 3 and then you look for the condition.
Conditions. Okay.
And these are really, if you see an and, so both condition has to be satisfied before you will be able to
Next go mode.
initiate a mode change.
Right.
If it's an or, either one will
Either,
do.
yeah.
Yeah, and so that's the main thing, and I'll let him
okay.
explain.
And
That'll be easier to see.
And there are also multiples, of ands and or statements in the whole thing,
Either. Okay.
as you can see over here.
Oh yeah.
So basically, let's go through the next one. It's the same type of scenario. So we did 2 to 1, 2 to 3, and 2 to 4. So, and that's because that's the only way it's going to change to a different mode is if any of these come true. Okay?
Any of the ands come true.
Any of these situations come true. It doesn't matter if it's and or. If this comes true
Uh-huh.
or this comes true, it's going to change
2
that
to
mode.
3. Yeah.
2 to 4, if this and this happens to be true, it will move it. Or this one. Okay? So both these statements have to be true for it to move.
2, 4.
These can be false, and this one can be true, and it'll still work.
Oh, okay.
So, and or. Okay? Same with the, anytime you see these ands.
So just stay over here.
Mhm.
Yeah, you said this or this,
No,
right?
no.
Yeah,
I
it's
said this
Look at the statement.
Yeah.
and
that.
this.
Okay.
Has to be true.
True.
Has to be
Or-
true.
Has to be true. Then it's gonna stay on the 2, right? Should
No,
No,
then,
it's
it- then it will
Move
change
from
to
2
4.
to 4.
Okay.
See, right now you're in 2, and we're only working with the 2s.
Okay.
Right.
This 2 to 4 has a statement that says this and this
okay.
has to be true
Into mode 4.
before it moves to mode 4.
Okay.
Or if chiller 1% is greater than 95.
Okay.
So this could happen all on its own, doubtful, with this still being false, and it would still move to mode 4.
All right, let me give them a scenario. Say we have a record-breaking summer temperature of 108 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
Very unlikely will happen ever. And then chiller 1 is at 95% of its capacity.
Mm-hmm.
At 95% of its capacity, with the delta being higher, it will change to mode 4.
Okay. Got it.
Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
The same scenario goes for the rest of these mode controls. This has to be in 3, like Sam was saying, for these to happen. Okay? That's why if you wanted to move into a certain mode, if you override it, these might not be true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just because you override a mode doesn't mean these are magically gonna, the and's gonna happen. It'll just be in that mode because you overrode it.
Okay.
Just priority.
Yeah.
So,
Overriding is only for emergencies.
exactly. So if you actually wanted to change it to a different mode, you would make these happen. Like if we wanted to go from mode 2 to 3, our hot water return has to be greater than 105, right? So we could lower this 105 to 90,
Mm-hmm.
and it would change to mode 3
Okay.
without being overridden.
Right. Got it.
I don't know which one's better or not.
Well,
I mean, there's
personally, are you thinking about a short-term basis where you need to do something?
yeah.
I think the override probably will be a preferred one because otherwise, I think
Then
when you forget to change your set point back, you may walk away.
Yeah.
I mean, after office hour, and then boom, the system will be doing its change and like crazy.
I would say this is more for fine tuning your system.
Yes.
Where
yes.
we know exactly what set points we want to get to.
Yes,
Right.
I perfectly
Meet
agree.
the
Right.
requirements for summer.
Your
winter,
hot
spring,
water,
fall.
steams coming on a little bit. Maybe we'll adjust that.
Yes.
Delta.
And also for you to see why I'm expecting to run the chiller too. It should be in cooling. Why doesn't it happen? Or I mean,
Yep.
Yeah, it's
just
another,
to kind of see
another
what condition kind
troubleshooting
of
too
holding that
also.
back.
Because if you're in here and it's mode 3, but none of these things are happening, there's could be overridden or something like that.
So can we?
Overrid, and then you go to the other page. You also make sure that certain valves haven't been shut or opened.
Right.
You know, make sure that your temperatures are true to what you see on the thermometers on the chiller sides and everything else.
So can we override to 6?
No, you cannot
No.
override to 6.
No, computer will pick 6, right? We can't do the override to 6.
No.
We can
Now-
override to 5.
I know why he's saying this is because we had that scenario a few weeks ago where what was it, chiller 2 failed, and it never went into mode 6.
Right.
And I believe we addressed
We
that.
addressed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on that table there is a bracket value which is a default value. And when normally you should always try to go back to that default value. And I think that's the basis.
I think the only one I know is, well, these are off.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe
We changed them all to
yeah, we made some
4,
adjustment already. Okay.
but that's like this is the same set point as this one. And,
So that's the one thing that I didn't like. If you are building that table from text blocks rather than your spreadsheet,
I know.
then you import from the GIF. Then not importing from the GIF, then it will be easier to change those. And
It's okay though.
yeah,
I mean, 2 would be all right also.
So
But we
what you
changed
guys
that.
really need to know for this one is this is going to describe to you why it's going from the mode it was before to the mode it is now.
Mm-hmm.
So like if it's say mode 3 and you knew that you're in mode 2 say first thing in the morning, then you go here and go, why did we go to mode 3? This is a good troubleshooting page. I'll add some descriptors.
Okay, I
after
was
we're
gonna
done
say,
with
what do you want me to
this
put there? Like troubleshooting page or?
after we're done with this, maybe you and me will sit down. We'll make some descriptions for some of these, because the other action page is pretty self-explanatory. This one and the other page, I would do a screenshot of this too, just so we can learn how. So we could put on there how to manipulate the force to a different mode. And this one is just information. The other mode page that he showed you, you can actually manipulate set points. Which we might not necessarily do for a little bit because we want to see how it's performing with the set points
Right.
that are there now.
So, you're familiar with all these now? Any questions?
Alright, so let's reiterate. Up at the very top, where you see the offs and ons, you can actually force, say you want mode 2, but you don't want to force it. You can also turn off 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, okay.
And it will automatically make it go to mode 2.
Can you show us how to?
Sure.
Let's go to,
You just hover over it, or are you talking about this one?
Yeah.
You're turning off.
You just
Oh, okay.
just change it the way
Okay.
you normally would.
Right, okay.
Now, like I said, once again, that's if you have an emergency situation,
Got it.
you know.
Most time it's gonna be just like this.
Okay.
And it's better for you to do the override on the far left corner than it is to shut off all the other modes.
And that's just that right there. Just put in mode 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
And mind you that I can remote log in from home, and so can you guys.
Okay.
So if you guys are having some issues, I could always remote log in. We could walk through it.
Condenser side. Not too much has changed here, except for this. I put the refrigerant alarm on there
And the sump alarm.
and the sump alarm.
And differentials are new too, because they weren't on there before.
Yeah, maybe we could get Sam to explain this one.
The differential pressure
Um,
set points.
Notice that this differential set point is at 90. Is that erroneous?
I mean, for one thing, there is a slight glitch in this graphic because the heat exchanger is not there.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is because when you are in a running chiller one, you are actually the cooling tower is actually going through the heat exchanger.
Mm-hmm.
So your set point is not really very critical as long as you have the kind of a minimum flow or design flow through the condenser. So that set point is really a fixed percentage which is set by the VFD speed of the condenser pump. So when you are running in mode 2 with the chiller 1 only, you are sending water through the heat exchanger and you only need a fixed speed for the condenser water. However, when you are running in chiller 2, I mean you want to guarantee a flow through the condenser barrel of chiller 2. And so in that case, you are trying to maintain the delta P across the chiller 2 condenser barrel. And that way, the delta P will control the pump. I mean, if something open, if your chiller 1 all of a sudden become a mode 4, then your delta P in that condenser barrel will drop, and then your VFD will ramp up to maintain that flow to guarantee the flow through the condenser barrel. So basically in mode 3, mode 4, mode 5,
Right.
you are always controlled to the delta P across the chiller 2 condenser barrel.
So what you're saying is the delta P is up on the top. Condenser 2's delta P is more important than condenser 1.
Yes, condenser.
Because
yeah.
what Bruce is trying to reiterate too is, so if you look at condenser, for chiller number 2, the condenser is showing only a delta P of only 15 psi.
Yes.
If you look at chiller 1, it's trying to go to a 90 psi, but it's only showing 8.
Right now.
Now, yeah. So is the 90 psi just an arbitrary number?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that's it.
Just so we could try to get some kind of we
yes.
get 100% flow all the
Yes,
time.
all the time. Yes.
Okay.
And yeah.
So
And for the tower,
to
I think
add-
there's a design minimum.
to add to
Couldn't
Sam's
really meet for
description,
now. And,
of the different
company that
modes
the media may not be
where
really good. And
it uses
we can look at
the
that later.
differential to control the pump's speed, and there's also a set point here for pump speed in mode 2 and 6. It's a set speed. Right now it should be 90%, which it is. Right here.
Okay.
So you can change that by just clicking on it.
But that value comes from the balancing work.
But that does come
Yeah,
from the
bill.
balancing work.
Yeah, so
So if I change that to 91, this is gonna jump up to 91. Ding, ding, ding.
and it don't basically only works when you are in mode 2 or mode 6.
Or mode 6.
All the other modes, this will not work. I mean, mode
Okay.
1, the pump will not be running.
Mm-hmm.
Mode 0 it will be off, but mode 2, mode 6, the pump will be running. You are only running chiller 1, and that speed will be controlled to that value. But in
So-
mode 3, 4, and 5,
Okay.
it will be controlled to the DP across the condenser barrel of chiller
Okay.
2.
So let me reiterate. So modes 2 and 6 are a fixed speed,
Fixed
Yes.
speed, 90% at this point.
Okay.
and then all the other modes are based off of the delta P on the across
Basically
the.
3, 4, 5, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
5, yes.
You guys understand that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you taking notes, Robin?
No.
I would take some notes if it's very, because that's pretty vital information.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Because that's definitely something we should understand and know, that 2 and 6 is a fixed speed. So if it ever goes out of 2 or 6 and we're in 3 and those are revving down for some reason, we're not freaking out.
Yeah, you'll know why. Okay. We did the evaporator side, right?
Can you go back to that other page real quick? Now, the CV5 down there, that is also on the same picture, same graphic as the reheat loop. So it's not actually a bypass technically anymore.
Right here.
So
It's actually modulating to
So-
cool down the water.
Right here it says see new heat recovery page. And the CV5 is now modulating to create heat for you.
control valve.
As a control valve to bring in to
Yeah, let's.
dictate the temperature coming out of the condenser water.
So the condenser water comes out and the CV5 modulates it through the heat exchanger to
Can I
get to
jump in?
your.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah.
You want it back to the condenser page?
No, I didn't. This page. So basically, the system is like that. When this guy is running, when you are delivering water to the heating water loop, I mean
Okay.
condenser water, this valve will actually be closed in that sense.
Okay.
And,
What valve is that?
Oh no, this one will open and you are actually sending water through here and through here or through here.
Okay.
Right? So when you are delivering the condenser water to the heating water system, this will be closed.
So you're not bypassing the pump.
So you are not,
Which it says closed flow to chiller.
yeah. So when you are running this guy in for heat recovery and trying to deliver hot water system to the system, this will be closed. And then you are sending water through the steam loop, through the heating water loop, and then come back through here.
Okay.
And then that
So
valve,
it's going through the chiller instead of the heat
and
exchanger.
the CV5 modulates to keep a certain temperature for that water so it doesn't overheat and make the chiller
Yes.
surge.
And so this guy is really a freeway valve. So you can either go through here or go through here, right? So when you are going through here, because the tower is always running, and sorry.
How you did that?
I don't know. I mean, I must have touched the keyboard. So
Oh.
the tower is running, and so you have the cold media here, and then when you go through here, the temperature will drop when you pass through the heat exchanger, and this valve modulate based on that set point. So you are trying to control the leaving condenser water set point so that it will stay below a certain value, because the chiller doesn't like a high value,
Okay.
and when it gets about 110, you will be in trouble. And or when the delta T is so small that because of that 107, you are getting a 105 on your return, you are also going to get some problem. So this guy will modulate open so that more water is going through the heat exchanger to cool down the loop and have a lower return to the condenser, so that the chiller will stay more happy.
It likes a load.
Yeah, when you are actually in mode 3, this guy will not be running. When you are in mode 4, this guy will be running like mode 2,
Okay.
because you are doing the heating loop. When you are running in mode 5, it will be different. This will be closed.
Okay.
So the water will be going through here because you're running this chiller in cooling mode.
Okay.
Mode 6 also, this guy will be closed, this will be closed, and you are only running water through there and through the heat exchanger. So that's what this guy is doing. When you're delivering hot water to a system, this will be closed. And when you're doing the cooling only mode, this will be closed. And
So number 5 is the only cooling mode?
and number 5 is both
Both.
chillers are cooling.
Okay.
Yeah, number 4 is chiller 1 is heating, and chiller 2 is cooling. Number 3, this guy does not run. And number 2, this guy runs in heating mode. and number 6, chiller 1, chiller 2 is tripped, and you are going to run chiller 1 in cooling mode, and so
That'll be
that
open.
guy will be closed and that will be open. So
Can you
that's
say that
how.
again?
Huh?
So can you say that again? Chiller 2 is shut, so
This valve will be open when you're in mode 6, correct?
This valve will be really like that, close to heating.
It will shut off from the heating loop.
You're confusing me.
Mode 6 is
Right
cooling
now,
only.
right now, I know.
Yes.
So closed equals flow to chiller, so that
Yes.
all the water goes through the chiller and heats it up, right?
Yes.
So in mode 6,
It will be. I mean, this
This
part
will-
will be closed.
well, let's not confuse them though. This is going to change to open. This is a dynamic.
Oh, you are okay. You are looking at the valve description. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
This is
I'm looking for.
I know you say
lower
it's closed
part.
here and you're closed here at the
Yeah.
same modes. I'm going. That's a little confusing.
Okay.
So in those, when it's closed, it's going through the chiller. In mode 6, you don't want it to go through the chiller, so it's going to be open.
Yes, because this is a three-way valve, and so close and open is really
It's a
close to
relative.
what point.
Yeah.
So basically,
Still open
Yeah,
to
the
both.
description here is that when it's closed, it's really the flow is
Okay.
to the So
A little confusing, I know.
yes, yeah, three-way valve is always.
So
a
there's
confusing
control
valve.
points on here also. Now right here we have a reset that we put in for based on outside air temperature. Are you familiar with reset set points? Anybody?
Say that again?
Is anybody familiar with a reset set point? Okay, I'll go over it. It's not too difficult. So we're looking at outside air temperature,
Yep, 49.
correct?
Uh-huh.
And when outside air temperature lowers to 32 degrees,
Right.
the hot water supply set point will be 105 degrees.
Okay.
When the outside air temperature rises to 65 degrees, the hot water set point will be 95.
Right.
So it lowers it.
Right.
So it's trying to save you some energy this
Energy,
way.
Yeah.
The controlling set point right now is 99.8.
8. Okay.
Can you tell me why? Anybody?
It won't get too hot.
How come it's not 95? Or how come it's not 105?
Because the temperature outside, this setting is there, right?
Okay, so this setting is 49 degrees.
Right.
And that tells me it's above 32,
2, yes.
but it's less than 95. So it's going to be somewhere in the range
Range, yeah.
of these two set points.
Correct.
And right now it calculates out to 99.7.
7, yeah.
So it's a constantly moving set point.
Right.
Fortunately, outside air doesn't move very fast, so
Right.
it doesn't move that fast.
Okay, yeah.
But anywhere in between that, it'll go from 105 to
95.
to 95.
95.
It won't go above or below that.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So, and that controls this temperature set point right here.
Okay.
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 And now, just to chime in, on there you're going to see below that we are actually supplying hotter water to that system, because all that really is doing is controlling to the set point for the steam valves. Isn't that correct?
Yes, I think the first on this left-hand corner, that guy is controlling the steam valve. So the
That's
steam valve will
right,
kind
right
of
here.
yes, the steam valve will kind of moderate to maintain your set point.
Mm-hmm.
However, the approach is that what we're trying to do is there is another guy on the leaving condenser water temperature down below on that
Getting
pipe.
there. Getting there.
And yeah, okay, yeah, I'll let you do that.
So right now this is controlling this set point or this temperature,
Okay.
and that is controlling these valves.
Okay.
So
Right.
why are they not open?
Well, let's take a look at that. Good idea. The set point is what? 99.8.
Mm-hmm.
Our temperature is 103. So it doesn't need any steam to get to set point.
Okay.
Okay, so the steam valves are closed. If
That's
it
where the
did,
saving is.
that's where your saving is, exactly. So if this were to drop below 99.8,
Then it's
these
gonna
things
open.
would start to creep open,
Okay, give us some steam.
give you some steam.
Set point. Okay.
So the other equation to this is how come we're getting all this hot water? Well, it's because of this chiller here is using the condenser water to heat it up. Okay? And that has to have a set point to control this valve. You don't want too much hot water coming in, and you don't want to overload your chiller coming back. So
it
that has
modulates.
a set point down here, and what it does is it takes this set point right here, 99.8, and adds 1 degree to it to make it 108.
Okay.
Okay?
And the reason for that is we are trying to get a higher leaving condenser, because when you look at this, this temperature finally goes out through this converter and then goes back out, right?
Okay.
So if this temperature can be higher, you will be above the set point,
About the set point.
and then the steam valve will back off.
Right. Okay.
Right,
Got
so
it.
the objective is really to try to get this higher temperature so that you don't need
Save
to
the
open
steam,
yes,
save the steam.
so
There
you
you
don't
go.
have to open the steam valve.
Yeah, got it.
And the offset is actually only 1 degree. We are kind of on the conservative side. You probably can move it to 2 and try that out.
Yeah.
But I think I will look into
Hey,
that. And,
we looked
yeah,
at the
but-
log. It looks
yeah.
like it's doing really good.
yes,
Yeah.
like-
right now with 105.
With only a 1 degree
yeah,
offset, we're doing really
most
good.
of the time we are
So-
average 10 days, 3% open. So it's
So
pretty
in,
good.
in winter, in real January or December, we can can you?
Yes, January, the cold days will be a little bit
Different, yeah.
Yes,
Then
a
it's
little
gonna
bit
be
different.
85.
Yes.
Then it's gonna
And then
open.
you're going to open
Yeah.
up your steam
Oh,
valve
okay.
to match up the
Match
heat.
up.
And I think the cold days, I think Sean, you may make the decision to see whether you want to raise that 105 a little bit higher or not. If the 105 is not enough for your space condition,
Then we can
you may
manipulate,
jack up
yeah.
to 107, 107,
108.
108 or
110,
something.
yeah.
No
And
more
it
than
also
110.
depends. In that case, you may need to make some adjustment to see whether you want to adjust that. Maybe worst case, you may have to put it in a negative value so that you have a lower temperature to maintain the surge, so that it will not surge until maybe we'll decide whether to put in another limit so that it will track the capacity of the chiller.
Okay.
So I think I was discussing with the engineer, so we may be doing something that will try to track that supply temperature so that it will actually look at the capacity. If the chiller is running like 50%, you may have a more room for a higher leaving condenser water temperature. If it's like running 70%, you may have more room for a higher temperature.
Yeah, because you got to
Because-
keep your delta P.
Yes, because your return will then be lower, and you don't want your return to get above 102 or something like
Yeah.
that, and that will not be good for the chiller either. So we'll look at the chiller load and see if we are tracking on that or limiting that. Then you will be able to push it high up when you have the capacity, when the chiller is running at a higher capacity.
Yeah.
But it's not implemented that, and I think we are happy with the stability, and we want to keep it stable for now, and then we'll address that during the summer,
Yeah, when
so
we
that
come
you
back
will be
for testing,
prepared
yeah.
for the winter time. So
So you guys will be coming back in the summer?
yeah, we'll come back for the Mode 4 and 5
when
Oh,
when the
okay.
temperature gets low.
when the temperature gets to 90 or whatever. Yeah. We'll come back.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on.
So, but, you know, the process.
This is pretty much going to be
Heat exchange.
your heat exchangers, just information. It kind of like just does it all on its own.
So, what is another meaning heat exchanger? Second,
What's that?
in simple word, what's heat exchanger?
Heat exchange is where it takes hot water or cold water even and runs it through this series of coils and heats up
And
another piece of the system or cools it off. So it shares that heat load. it dissipates it in. Can you explain?
So there's two different. You know what heat
The coils,
exchangers are?
the,
Yeah.
our coils in the AC9, the heat, that's coils, right?
Well, yeah, but even in these heat exchangers over here, like take heat exchanger 1 and 2 back there.
Right.
They're shell and tube.
Right.
So what it is, you have water going through the coils
Right.
in there, and you got steam in the shell. And what you're doing is
Taking
the
the
water's absorbing the heat from the
yeah,
steam,
okay.
and then you're taking that hot water
Got
and
it.
you're putting it out the
Put it
building.
building.
Plate heat exchangers do the same thing.
Right,
You got
okay.
cold water on one side of the plate, and you got hot water on the other side, and it's
Right,
going like this
right,
through
right.
there, and it's exchanging.
Okay,
heat.
because, so the new heat exchangers we just installed,
So
right?
what's the first law of thermodynamics?
Yeah,
What is it? Hot to cold.
heat, hot to cold, yes,
There
always,
you go.
always, yes.
Always remember that.
Yeah.
That's how the heat exchangers get
Right.
their
No,
hot water
no.
from steam.
No, I was confused about these because we just installed these two ones,
Mhm.
so I forgot about that, we installed
Yes.
it, so, that's the reason.
Yeah, those are the. I want to say
Yeah.
those are those two little heat exchangers in there.
Got it. Go ahead, Bruce, sorry.
Actually, I'm gonna confer to Sam. Come here, Sam. If I remember rightly, the heat water entering temperature set point
Mm-hmm.
is set at 110,
Mm-hmm.
and that is being controlled by this guy.
No,
I can't remember.
that's really because that one is tied to your heat recovery loop.
So that's
So
on the other page.
That's to determine whether you want to turn on the pump or not the pump.
These guys.
Yes.
So right now this pump is on.
So right now,
I mean that pump will turn on when you see a steam trap. I mean when you see the condensate.
Did you name and pump, what's the pump number? 76?
6-7 is on the chill water,
Right.
on the chill water loop, and these are two separate.
So this set point here controls this pump to come on and off
Mm-hmm.
to get this temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of enabling the system. That's the point is really.
That is.
Can we name this pump number?
This is pump 3. HX pump 3 and buffer tank pump.
That's 4?
Or no, 4. 2 and 3.
2 and 3, okay.
Here's the sequence.
Yeah.
So, pump 2 and 3 is it? One is chip condenser, one is evaporator, right?
That's for those. This is for the hot water system.
Okay.
Yeah, that's for the domestic hot water, but it's kind of tied to the heat recovery loop also.
Because you're using the condenser water from the heat recovery.
Yeah, I think what they're trying to do here is there is a steam condensate, and they're trying to recover some of the heat from the steam condensate. Because normally the steam condensate, you have to go through a kind of a smaller heat exchanger where you will use cold water to kind of cool it down
Cool it
before you
down,
actually
yeah.
dump into
Dump in
the drain.
Domestic.
And so this is. Well, I mean, before it's done or before you try to cool it down, why not take some heat
Take
out?
heat
And
out,
this
yeah.
is exactly what
Oh,
the
okay.
two-way heat exchanger is trying.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
actually served the domestic hot water loop, I think on the left-hand side,
Okay.
and it also try to boost a little bit on the heat recovery, or on the heating loop.
Okay.
Yes.
So right side's heating loop, left side is the domestic hot water.
Yep.
And then the tank temperature that's for the domestic hot water too, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there is we don't want to get that temperature too high, and so there is some sort of alarm or a limit, and then when you are actually getting too high, I think you are going to bypass the valve and kind of disable that, or reduce the flow of the steam through that heat exchanger. Yeah, this
The
is
hot
a valve.
condensate.
Yeah, this is a valve that I'm talking about. So when that temperature gets too high, normally the steam condensate go through here and go through there, right? All the time, basically. And when that temperature gets too high, if you are opening this valve up, then some water, not all, some water, or hopefully most of them will go through here instead of going through here,
Okay.
and then there will be no heat transfer, right?
Got it.
And then this temperature hopefully will drop down,
Drop down, okay.
and that's what we are trying to do. In
Okay.
there. Yes.
So can we get a screenshot of this one? We'll have to put some describers in here for this.
So that's, these are the,
That's the big one.
Yeah.
Because that one confuses me too.
Yeah.
and if you wanna go.
And I believe he do have the sequence, a link to the sequence, right? Bruce, do you have a PDF that?
I was waiting for the final.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so finally, when the final shop drawing are done, he will have a PDF, and there will be a link on the graphic, so they can boom, click open the sequence,
Okay.
and they can read the sequence from the PDF.
That'll help out. Yeah.
Now that usually helps a lot.
So when is that gonna be did in the summer?
No, that
I-
will be maybe
I'll-
hopefully in
It'll be soon.
yeah, in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
yeah,
I'll
yes,
probably
yeah.
do it remotely.
Yes.
Hey.
It's not that hard to do.
You need to submit your final.
I think we just.
bill
I
as
think
soon
we.
as possible.
I think we just did that. So to who? Shell it.
Send it out already.
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I think so. I'll have to check with Paul, but it's
Yeah,
soon.
please. Yeah.
So, cooling towers, we have a couple new things here. Basically, it's still on the lead lag situation where it starts off with one chiller who's lead. And that is right now
Number 2.
2. And that will tell you here, lag, lead. And so it'll start there and try to maintain set point down here, which changes depending on what mode you're in. And
So set point means what the after the heat dissipating is what's temperature coming out?
yes,
The leaving water temperature from the tower.
yes,
Okay.
the leaving water temperature,
Leaving I mean
which is 80
it's
degrees.
coming in, hot water coming in, and it's dissipate leaving. Okay, 80 degree. Okay,
So right now it's 76.
So below set point.
So
okay.
we only have one, and it's still on high. It'll probably jump to low,
It's on.
or it is low.
Yeah, it's on low now.
So it'll
Okay,
probably
what was
stay
it
there.
coming in?
So what would happen?
79 degrees coming in, so it's not a lot of.
So what would happen if we cross this set points?
If you what?
What would happen if it's over 80? This temperature is over 80, right?
Yeah, then it would start to ramp up,
Up. Okay.
and this would go to high,
Okay.
and then they'll go to high and low, and then high and high.
Okay.
The
So-
set point is determined by the program.
Right, except for in mode 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mode 2, it's adjustable down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but even when even when it's adjustable, that set point is actually kind of dictated by the chiller. The chiller doesn't really
Right.
want a the chiller when you are in cooling mode. The chiller would prefer a range of 65 to 85.
Okay.
So it really kind of the set point is determined based on your outside temperature.
Oh, okay.
So that is calculated from the outside air temperature, and then to within the range that is kind of okay for the chiller.
Okay.
But when you are running in heat recovery mode,
Mm-hmm.
remember that your entering water temperature to a condenser is usually about 100 or around that.
Okay.
And when you're trying to generate heat,
Okay.
and at that point in time, the chiller doesn't really like too high a temperature.
Right.
And so your loop is designed to 80, 85 degree, so that you have about 10 degree delta or a 15 degree delta between your cold side of the heat exchanger and the hot side of the heat exchanger.
Okay.
So that you can actually cool the 100 degree condenser water
Uh-huh.
to a lower temperature.
Okay.
And so usually I think you also do not want too low a temperature also, because you're basically wasting your energy when you're running in a heat recovery mode where you don't need a 60-degree water.
That's right.
And so I think that's why in mode 2, the program sets it to about 80 degrees something, and then in the other mode, I think it's reset based on outside.
So what is the loop output?
That's basically the demand that the cooling tower has.
Like how much is calling
How
heat?
far away it is from set point, pretty much.
Okay.
So if it's on set point,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be 0.
Like if it's 80 here, 80 here, right?
It'll be 0.
0. Okay.
And so the further away it gets from set point, that loop tries to compensate
Okay.
and ramps up to 100%.
Okay.
So at 8%, it's still being called a little bit to be on, but not enough maybe to even turn on the.
Turn on. Maybe if over 10, it's can turn on, right?
It does-
20, I think.
20,
is,
okay,
yeah, I
okay.
think in general
It-
it's set
it
to
dep-
If it does
20,
that.
the low stage, and then 40, the second low, and
Okay.
then 60 is the
I
third
got
low,
point,
and
yeah.
then 80 is
Got it.
I think it's 20, 40, 60, 80, and then with the
Okay.
10% differential.
Yeah, 20, 40, 60, 80.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I remember.
So that's what that loop means.
Okay.
You have right now the rotate lead is 6,
6.
which is manual.
Okay.
Yeah, for now.
So, and it's normal right now. If you were to click that, you could rotate it.
Mm-hmm.
So there will be.
What is the number 1?
We'll read them. So number 1 is monthly,
Monthly.
2's weekly, 3's daily,
Okay.
4, I can't read that one.
Runtime
Runtime.
every 48 hours.
Normally what we're going to do is we'll probably rotate them weekly. But
Okay.
right now the reason why we have it manually is because we need to fix the float
Okay.
on that cooling tower.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we want cooling tower 2 to be lead most of the
Okay.
time.
Else, if you don't, then it's going to start dumping over the overflow.
Okay.
Okay, now did
Alright.
I do a screenshot of that?
Mm-hmm. And something else is, so whatever cooling tower is the lead cooling tower at that time, the valve up above that brings the water in and through the media will always be open,
Mm,
That
okay.
is correct.
even at 0% out loop or 0%.
Yeah, this will
lead.
always be open to the lead tower.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can always have some flow,
So
otherwise
it,
we
if
have
it's
problems.
if it's changed that it automatically open
Yes.
that one. Okay.
That is correct.
Which we haven't had too many problems with the cooling towers.
Okay.
That's good. So I think that's it. And we also
So
have a
when
button
you
for
go
the
to
motor.
monthly, weekly, and daily, you got
Basically,
what you call the diagram where it say what it was for monthly, the percentage, or
You mean, no, you mean these things here you're talking about?
yes,
Um,
of what it was for 48 hours.
Around like 10 uniforms.
Every 40
last
hours
48
change
hours.
to.
Like
Last-
a counter for every time it changes, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I have that shown here.
Okay.
You have your
So why would you have monthly, weekly, and daily?
Depends on how we want to rotate them.
Yeah, there's probably a generic monthly date, like the 1st or something like that. And same with the weekly, every Sunday.
So that's just a change from which ones is going to be
The lead.
run the lead.
That's correct.
Okay.
So that way we don't put all the stress on one cooling tower all the time.
Is that it, or do you have more?
And I seem to remember.
Do we have more things to go over?
Oops, wrong one.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a little bit more to go here.
There is, I want to go to
AC9.
I mean, I know they're not.
AC 1 and B, I thought. Oh, there it is. Not much changed here except for we added some bigger coils, I think, or valves. Is that right?
We added bigger valves to the cooling coils. We added the motorized valves instead of the pneumatics.
Right. There
So
you go.
those that haven't really changed much, except for you're going to hear a lot of clicking up there, as
I think
opposed
we-
to no noise.
I thought we changed it from a 3-way to a 2-way, right?
It's
Yeah.
not a three-way anymore.
Yeah, it's not a 3-way
Yeah.
anymore.
So there is a restriction on flow which I don't know if that's going to be an issue down the line, going back, because that's the main air handler for this building.
Yes, I think I talked to Sam, the engineer. Yeah, I mean, he checked the calculation. He said that even with both valves closed, there is sufficient three-way and water flow to guarantee the minimum flow through the chiller.
Okay.
Because I thought we measured a kind of low value. He said, man, no, at the even with that, both of them, the three-way valve still that exists here will be sufficient for the minimum flow through the evap side.
Okay, so we could still have a minimal flow.
Yes.
Alright, AC 9.1.
9.1, this is probably the last of the little bit that we have. 9.1 serves the conservation lab, and they added a little control here for paint booth humidity and temperature, so that the paint booth fan would come on to control the humidity and temperature now. So these set points here is what controls it. So whenever the booth humidity gets above 60%, it's going to turn on exhaust fan 3.1.1.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. The kind of reasoning behind is that normally with no one in the fan booth and no humidity, that fan will be off, and AC9 will be running with the exhaust fan and stuff like that. That fan inside the booth will be off.
Okay.
But the condition is such that when the humidity is high, you want to try to start the fan with a minimum and kind of exhaust air, try to get the humidity out. And so what we put in the mode is that when the paint booth is actually sensing a high humidity, we actually enable the fan and open the damper and at the minimum speed to actually get some air through the booth and try to
staying on no matter
extract
what.
the air.
Yeah,
I mean
That's what I was
moisture.
going to talk to you guys about after
However,
the training.
When the fan is running, when the EF inside the booth is running, we are trying to maintain the whole area. But there are three areas. One is the paint booth, one is the conservation lab, and the other is the outside office. So we want to maintain a kind of a gradient of pressure across that. So the paint booth will be most negative. The conservation lab will still be positive, referencing the paint booth, but it will still be negative, slightly negative, referencing the office space.
Okay.
So that if anyone is doing any work inside the conservation lab,
Chemical.
the volatile compound will not actually go out to the office.
Office, got it.
And so right now, the result that we got from the balancing is that when the fan, when the EF31, one, that means the paint booth fan is actually off, the area, the conservation area is kind of slightly positive. So that's not what we actually want.
Okay.
But it's what it is. And if they're not doing work inside there, they have a volatile compound. There's no such need to really make the change.
I think me and Bill actually got it, even with the exhaust fan off, we were able to draw kind of some form of negative pressure.
Yes, with the exhaust fan, you can probably. I think the easiest way to do that, if they are doing some work inside there, you can activate the humidity mode and say, hey, I'll run the system in minimum speed.
Yeah.
And I think that should be okay. But that will have a call from the lab people to you guys and say that, hey, I mean, we are doing some work inside the area, and please turn it to the minimum or something.
Well, and then we also learn from the people up at the conservation lab, if they're doing that kind of work, that they should be using the articulating arm exhaust fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yes. And with that can help.
Yeah.
And if they're doing a bigger piece of work, they should go into paint booth. And so I think that, in that sense, I think that we handle. all the values here is really, they have supply air damper, they have outside air damper, they have the fan speed, and the exhaust fan speed. All those values are trying, the balancing guy are trying to set those values so that in different condition, the area will be maintained slightly negative or negative. So those values are really balanced already and should not really be adjusted.
And
So
then-
it's really the modes, whether you activate the override the humidity mode, or whether you change the humidity set point, or whether you override the fan speed on the exhaust fan. I think those are the values that you can really adjust. All the other supply air damper, outside air percentage, those are set by the balancing guy.
And then the other thing is too is the steam valve now, even if it shows 100%, it's actually only going to be open to 60%. That's to stop over excessive humidity dump into that conservation lab.
At the valve itself, right?
Yeah, at the
Yes.
valve itself. So that way we don't have a sonic condition like we did last time it opened to 100%.
Okay.
And we'll make, me and Bruce and Sam will sit down here after this and we'll make some cheat sheets and some descriptors on it, and we'll
Okay.
save it to the Word document. Then, if Young's nice enough, he'll send the video to everybody too.
Mm-hmm.
Which, depending on how big it is, he might have to send it through an email.
It's not going to send over email. It's too big.
Ah,
Okay, is that it?
That concludes the training as far as I'm good.
Any last words?
Can you go through some of the trends, trends, where to locate the trends and stuff like that?
You guys are familiar with trends?
But they may not be able to
Just
find
go
them.
over one more time.
The trends are in this left-hand tree.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to go to Ventura Heating, has a folder in here called Trends,
Mm-hmm.
and here you can select whatever.
Last week.
Well, you can select whatever point, like hot water return temp, and just double click on it, and I'll
Oh,
show
okay.
you.
So data log.
The
Nice.
trends.
Okay.
Well, okay, all day
Okay.
long.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's 10, 11, 12. And in order to change that, as far as I've found out, you go in here and add or subtract your trend log values, how many points there are. So you could add a 0 to that, and you would get
More trend.
a ton more trends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So the archive is actually good for 1 year, right?
Yes.
Yes, I think that's what the
You
MMP
can look
guy
at
is
it
looking for, but that's
In a
only
chart form,
PC space. So
Okay.
yeah.
which sometimes makes more sense to people, just by right-clicking on it
Mm-hmm.
and view trend chart,
Okay.
or you could just view the log.
Okay.
Those are, like I said, there's a folder under the heating, and there's also a folder under cooling, or that's owner trends, under the cooling, which has the same thing. So if you wanted to look at the chiller one load, you could view the chart.
Okay.
That actually
so
has
what's that again?
both. This
Was
is
that the chiller
load?
Oh, true and low. Okay. Okay. So how low does it go? Can you look at that again?
What's that?
Can you look at that again? How low does it go? I mean percentage-wise.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
like what is the two charts actually show date for the data?
Can you look at the chart again?
What's the big difference between?
So what's the range?
It's like on the bottom.
This is CH1 load, CH2 set point,
So 6-1 low is what percent?
Yeah, and so my.
which is the blue. I think there's a way to change that.
So, don't worry about the dips, but really just the.
Well, hang on a second.
Mm-hmm.
So there's the percentages
Yeah, I mean,
for just one trend.
I prefer the chart.
I do too, but if you want to look at the chart,
Okay, you go to view trend.
well, it's given me a couple of them to look at because it's somebody had created these trends. I didn't realize that.
So is it normally two for the rotation or three for the rotation?
So what's the red, what's the blue?
The blue is CH1 load.
Uh-huh,
Red's the bypass valve.
okay. And the range for that
Yellow.
chiller low is what? Ranging between 30 or what? What's the high and low?
About 35 to 40.
35 to 40? Oh yeah, that's pretty good. So probably that's why it's so stable. I mean, the Yorker is saying
Where
that
is that?
chiller doesn't really like
There
anything.
should be a little pointer thing popping out here.
Oh, 30%.
Yeah, I mean because with the cooling only mode,
Ah.
he said you can probably run down all the way down to 10 because of a high entering condenser water temperature.
Yeah, because you get too much of a
Yeah,
differential between the
yes.
evaporator
So
and
when
the
it
condenser.
goes way up there,
You
Yes.
get
coming
an
from a cooling.
almost identical delta P between
Yeah,
the two.
so he's saying that probably 30.
That's the bypass
I've seen
valve.
they're running at 25, okay, but
But anything below that could be
yes,
dangerous.
it's opening up. or
yeah.
Yeah,
You may
Just
think-
opening up.
he basically
could have
said
been an adjustment we've been
the
doing
surge
or
is not
something
totally
to
over.
create it.
where as
effect.
long as it stays below a certain, I mean, you don't really have too many surges. I think it's okay.
Don't
For the
know
last 2
why.
weeks,
Nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nothing really. So,
And I mean, I think it's just going to get better the more we get.
yes.
The deltas are going to
Yes,
get bigger.
and then the leaving condenser will also be lower.
Trend.
Yeah, we should be okay.
It's just the winter time is what we got to
Yes.
focus
Oh,
on.
I see, okay. So most of them are just gonna be double click and you'll see this.
Can we just make a cheat sheet how to look at trends too?
Yeah,
I know it's relatively easy to get to, but
One comment is the point name is not really as friendly, user friendly as it can be.
No. Yeah, absolutely
I
right.
have hard time trying to find my point, and because
So-
of the name. The name is not.
These
not really
trends were
catchy.
made with these points. These points here are in these trends. So
So
Oh.
you have the chiller alarm.
right now, this chiller 1 trend, see the little squiggly line? That means it's a chart.
Yeah.
And so on that chart, you have 3 points that somebody has added. They have a CH1 load, CH1 Setpoint, CH1 chill water supply. So that is how you create
The trend.
trends like this. You add those points to a trend chart. There's not a trend chart for each one of those points, so that's why when you go in here, you just click on it and you'll see what it is. If there is a trend chart made for that point, you can right click and go to view log, or no, view trend, excuse me. But it doesn't have that. Okay, so you can create one if you wanted, or create it over here and add that point to it. If you want a class on that, we can do that later. But
and we're not going to add a lot of trends because that's what
That-
bogged down the computer in the first place.
So the
That-
trends
that's-
are there already.
And, well,
Well,
they erased
we,
thousands of trends.
Yes,
before.
yeah, I think
had
the
to
trends are
add-
there, and
I had to add a bunch
they
of
are
changes.
actually required for the M&B at least for the
Yeah.
first 1 or 2 years, and I think after they can decide. But one thing that I think you should actually learn from Bruce is that you guys should be able to set up the multiple point reports. Say, hey, okay, I want the condenser water temperature. I want the wow percentage on the CV5 or something, so that I can kind of track the operation. If something happens or something, so you should be able to create your own report with multiple points in the report, so they can click on that and then boom, it comes out with all those multiple points. And I think since the trends are there, the creating the kind of that report in chart form
Would be
will
relatively
not be really consuming a lot of energy or
Maybe we'll
or
schedule that
communication.
for another day. Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Because I know that
They're
would
not
be
too difficult, and I'm pretty sure you guys have already done some of it before.